Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 14 of the Power Ranger podcast. I am your host, Dr. Pittman, as always, and we got my co-host over here from the Disney Brain, JWR.
Good to be back. Been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt. I don't know. In a way, It sounds weird because as much as I enjoy doing this, I feel like the time away has done me some good and allowed me to, I guess, it provided me with, I guess, a much needed mental break. Does that make sense?
I see. Well, yeah, me too. Helps me slow down a bit. But anyway, we got Dragon Rare X9 also from the Disney Brain.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be back. I don't have anything much to add to that. I've just been busy with personal things, but
Right.
it's good to be doing this again.
Right.
I somehow have not
And also,
entirely...
we apologize.
Sorry.
All right. Sorry, apologies for the buzzing. This is coming from Dragon Raider's side.
Maybe we don't know.
We don't know.
I'll workshop some troubleshooting over the next week. I'll try and figure something out.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so we got topics for you guys. Oh boy, we got a bunch here. We can give our thoughts on the Lightning Collection Wave 12 announcement of the Lightning Collection Wave 12, and we have Dino Fury winning the GLAAD Award. Then we'll discuss episode 9 of season 2 of Dino Fury called The Hunt. We're gonna give our thoughts on the review of the title of Jonathan Entwistle's Power Rangers movie.
If it's still in the works, that is, we don't know.
Yes. And also, we'll give our thoughts on the new Power Rangers mobile game. Then we'll dive deep into our thoughts on Amy Jo Johnson seemingly debunking the 30th anniversary rumors. Alright. Then we'll also give our thoughts on Jonathan Entwistle removing Power Rangers from his Twiddle Hand. And then finally, Jetman. We'll give our thoughts on Jetman Toshihide Wakamatsu attending Power Morphicon 2022. Alright. And once again, if you're just tuning in, I apologize for the buzzing on Dragon Raider's side, but we don't know if it's on his side or not, so he'll attempt to troubleshoot it sometime. But anyway, let's get started here. Let's discuss episode 9 of season 2 of Dino Fury called The Hunt. So JWR, what are your thoughts on this?
It is hands down my favorite episode of Dino Fury so far. Not just like for both seasons. Like, I love the pacing. I love the way in which the story unfolds. I especially appreciate how it kind of brings Terex, Void Knight / Terex arc full circle. I love the introduction of the Dino Morpher, and I really appreciate how this is like this is the first time. Well, I shouldn't say the first, but it continues the feeling of the steady progression of the plot in season 2 so far.
Yeah.
I'll get to it later. But Javi actually gets a significant role this episode, which is always nice.
Right. That's it for your thoughts, or you got more?
Those are my general thoughts. Yeah.
Your thoughts, okay. Dragon Raider.
As per usual, I took notes. There's a lot to talk about here, but I think before I talk about all the things I like, and there's a lot I like in this episode, there's one glaring issue that has really been bothering me. And this isn't like the episode where Izzy played that one video a little too close to her father when she really should have known better. It's not a little thing like that. This one actively bothers me. The beginning of the episode has the Pink Ranger's boss, Amelia. No, Amelia is the big Jane. I'm sorry, for some reason I'm having trouble keeping these names down.
That's
But
fine.
anyway, Jane spots what appears to
It's
be
all right.
a ghost kidnapping and disappearing with some guy. Now we find out at the end of the episode he's just was an illusionist practicing his bit, which, you know, fair enough. My problem is they recorded this whole thing. The Rangers see it, and they are not particularly concerned with the fact that a man just up and got vanished by a ghost. They are not concerned with this potential victim at all. And that kind of it hurt the episode for me more than it really ought to have, I feel.
It's a weird. What's the word? I guess it's a weird. What's the word? Slip of. What? I forget what the word is, but like it's a weird. Yeah. It's a weird omission. It's a weird omission and just kind of like something that they just brush off given the circumstances.
Yeah, like Void Knight being able to sneak back into his base when he's an active traitor, I don't care. I don't need an explanation. I can just let that go. Whatever. But this bugs me, and it will always bug me. I don't think there's going to be a solution to that.
Yeah, probably not.
Anyway, also there was a cabbage guy.
Oh yes,
Who
right.
I am
right.
100% convinced is a reference to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It has to be.
Like, to their credit, it doesn't feel overly forced or overplayed. It's just allowed to be a thing.
Yeah.
That's
It worked. I think the reference. Usually, I'm not really. Usually, I find references and jokes like that to be a bit on the nose, and they can potentially take me out of whatever I'm watching. But I think it works here because it's brief. It's not. No one calls attention to it, and it's not like it's one and done. Like they make reference to Avatar. They make reference to the my cabbages guy, and they just move on with it.
They don't even pause to focus on it. And, like,
Right.
let's face it, Jane was on rollerblades or skates or whatever. She was going to fall over something. That was a given.
Right.
Okay, so on to the meat of the episode. Now, again, I haven't 100% caught up on Dino Fury yet, so maybe the rest of the viewers knew more of the specifics of Void Knight than I did, but it was still interesting hearing him tell his whole story to the Rangers. It was an oddly humanizing bit where he's begging for help. Also, Snag Eye, as the monster robot for the day, proved a lot more threatening than I would have imagined.
Yes.
Granted, his method of capturing Rangers isn't nearly as traumatizing as watching the Terror Toad eat them back in the Mighty Morphin days.
Right.
Look, I did not memorize every single Power Rangers episode I saw when I was 5, but I remembered watching the Terror Toad eat people.
Mhm.
That was horrifying.
Right.
But
Definitely one of the more horrifying moments in the series. This might just be me, but I personally remember always being I guess personally just being frightened by some of the I forget which one, but like it was one of the Oryx in the last couple of episodes of Wild Force.
no kidding. I'll have to look forward to that then. I haven't finished Wild Force either.
Oh,
It's been one of those eternally on the to-do list.
oh,
Ah.
Okay.
right.
Now, Zato. what I really like about this whole dynamic, and I believe I touched on this last time, is that he never comes off as being stupid and unreasonable.
Right.
He's very clearly angry about the whole prospect, but like it's a natural, reasonable reaction. And as he points out, they have been tricked before.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually brings me to a point about Zato I've been noticing during my watch through of the series. I brought it up on the server, and I'd like to talk about it here for just a moment.
Go ahead.
Zato has an interesting. Is it too pretentious to say juxtaposition
No, of course not.
of
No.
character traits? Like, obviously, characters will act somewhat different depending on what scenario they're in, but I'm having a hard time thinking of a ranger that has this consistent of a divide between how calm, happy, and chill he is during relaxing time, and how serious, driven, and sometimes even angry he can be when it's action time. And like, I'm not saying that as a negative. I think that's
No, that's
really cool.
that's a strength. That's a good thing. Like he has contrasting traits and aspects that
But he-
that there are aspects of his character that seem contradictory and should feel inconsistent, but it's done in a way that like still fits with the character.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. That's fine.
I would just want to agree, but yeah, he always feels like the same character, and that's wonderful. That's a great range.
Right. I'm still kind of in the opinion that that Tyler from Dino Charge is still I guess the best of the best Red Ranger, the best of the modern Red Rangers, as in I'm counting everything post RPM, but
Right?
depending on how things shake out with Dino Fury, I think he has some stiff competition from Zato.
I can see that.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the I think a lot of it has to do with the cues that they're taking from Andros and In Space. I noticed early on that this season was taking a lot that they were taking cues from In Space with the way that they have a Red Ranger who is alien and kind of an alien Red Ranger, the Sixth Ranger being his companion.
He
His
used
type
to
of
have a-
backstory.
He used to have a previous team of Rangers who are not around anymore. Hint, hint.
The villain actually having a complicated relationship with the main villain having somebody that he genuinely cares for. Yeah. It's not. Most people would see that as like a negative or a drawback, but I kind of see it as a positive. It's like I see it as a positive because Dino Fury puts its own unique spin on these similar ideas, and and I guess I've always been a firm believer of if you're going to take inspiration from somebody, do it from one of the best.
And like, this isn't like RPM, which I mentioned before, where the whole thing with what was his name, with Dylan and Tanaya, it is maybe a little too similar to the whole Andros and Astronema situation. Like, there's taking inspiration, and then there's borderline copy pasting. Dino Fury, by contrast, uses these similarities as jumping off points to tell their own stories. Case in point, the Sixth Ranger. I've seen his introduction episode. Now, the Silver Ranger Zane from In Space, he was an old friend of Andros's, and he kind of slotted into the team pretty easily because, he was used to this. He was just injured and frozen. Some thing happened, and then he was fine. Look, Power Rangers doesn't always make sense. We just have to roll with things.
Right. The thing with yeah.
And I like Zane because he's kind of a jerk, which was refreshing for a Zordon era Power Ranger.
Yeah.
But then we get to Ion, the Gold Dino Fury Ranger. he okay, first off, I feel like they maybe could have dragged his situation out a little longer than a single episode.
Yeah,
But I
could
still-
have shook out.
But I still liked how it shook out. This isn't like in Ninja Steel with that one lion princess lady who,
Vera.
as I recall,
Oh, man.
basically learns a new way of thinking over the course of a single episode, despite being the monarch of a kingdom that's all about like violence and conquest. Like, look, I get it's a kid's show, but come on, there are limits to how seriously I can take things.
Right.
But here we have a good setup. First off, what I like is that Ion isn't openly antagonistic or hostile. Maybe he's hostile-ish towards Zato, but he has a fair reason for it. And one, the Sixth Ranger coming in and basically saying, I'll join, but only if I'm in charge. And it just being taken seriously as a plot point, that's new, I think. I was excited to see where that was going to go. And to
Right.
their credit, even if they did restrict it to one episode, they did have a pretty good conclusion on that whole concept.
Right.
You know, and heck, Zato was actively considering whether he should step aside and let Ion take over. And,
Right.
Okay, we're talking about a completely different episode now.
I mean,
Yeah, different episode.
right.
But my-
Point taken. But there is a connection. But they are kind of tangentially related because a lot of the reasons that Zato is so distrustful of Tarek is in a way him projecting what happened in Rathkond all those millions of years ago.
The thought had occurred to me. He's very much, this is your fault. And, you know, on the one hand, he's right. On the other hand, that doesn't mean he's not projecting.
Oh, he's totally projecting because he sees himself reflected in a lot of the decisions that Tarek is making and the situation that he finds himself in.
And plus, as I said before, Zato is correct enough in everything he says that I don't find myself wanting to slap him inside the head. And that's
Right.
important.
Right. And there's
Now-
also wait, sorry.
Oh, an interesting
Oh,
choice.
sorry.
Dante?
Before you
Yeah.
continue, I'm sorry to cut you off. My internet, the internet on my side is a little tripping right now, so
Oh.
but it's working right
Oh.
now. So yeah. So go on ahead, continue.
One thing I thought was an interesting choice. So, of the 6 Rangers, 4 of them are captured. Everyone except for Zato and Javi, the Black Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they come to the Javi particularly comes to the very realistic conclusion that, hey, we probably can't take this guy on our own. We need help. We have a guy who's offering help. You know, we're kind of back into a corner here.
Right.
And Zato, he's hesitant, but I just like that exchange for so long. You can't let him go alone, right? I know.
Right. Oh, speaking of which, I love like that interaction is great, but I also especially love the a few moments after Javi arrives at the warehouse, Zato arrives, and then Javi looks at him and says, "Well, that didn't take much convincing, did it?" God, like it's these little touches that for me just kind of make the episode and the season in general.
It's little touches like that that make it dynamic between characters that you want to come back and see more of.
Right. I hate I hate coming back to this connection, but a lot of this honestly feel like it felt honest. Like I heard that line and I almost immediately got like Ninja Storm vibes with the Sark. Like it just, or at least like Ninja Storm or like SPD vibes with the retorts and the sarcasm. It's great.
The way the dialogue has been written in these seasons is giving me flashbacks to the better Disney era seasons, and that's a high praise coming from me.
Yes.
But anyway, the thing I was trying to build to, though, that surprised me was the monster, of course, storms in out of nowhere, and he captures one of the two remaining Rangers. And based off that description, I 100% would have expected him to capture Javi, leaving Zato there with Void Knight, but he doesn't. He captures Zato. And I'm like, okay, that's unexpected. Let's see where they go with this. So Zato uses his alien powers that I guess Ion never thought to use to press against the wall of the inside of wherever he is, and he can see the fight through the monster. Oh, something eye. Snag Eye, right?
Snag Eye. Snag Eye.
Snag Eye. And he sees that Void Knight and Javi are fighting alongside each other to defeat the monster, and this kind of gets Zato on the field with how the things are going. And the way I see it, there's two important reasons for this. First off is the pure, I guess, utilitarian one, i.e., with 5 of the Rangers captured, if this whole thing had been a setup, Void Knight and you just told me his Snag Eye.
Snag Eye, yes.
Could very easily overpower Javi. Like,
yes.
Look, not trying to harsh on Javi here, but he would have lost that fight.
Oh, for sure.
And there's not really a tactical advantage to Void Knight keeping up the charade at this point, unless he's playing some kind of very, very long game. And well, look, at some point your paranoia can only go so far before it becomes unreasonable.
Right.
And the other thing that stood out was I think that by removing Zato from the action, he was able to calm down and assess the situation a bit more openly than he would have been otherwise.
Right.
Plus, it probably helped that Void Knight was helping one of Zato's friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Zato might have been still paranoid if Void Knight seemed to be helping him, but he was more open to Void Knight helping his friend. And I thought that was nice.
Right.
And oh, sorry.
Wait, I was going to say, and then that ultimately kind of, I guess, the culmination of all that is Void Knight, is Tarek giving, is after the other Rangers are freed, the culmination comes in the moment where Zato like receives Tarek's morpher, he hands it over to Zato, and that for him just kind of crystallizes. Okay, I can trust this dude now.
Dino Knight armor. That was so freaking cool.
That is.
Like, I don't have anything deep to say about it. That whole sequence was just fun, awesome. I loved watching it.
Heck yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if this technically qualifies as a battleizer or not. I kind of want to, just because of the unique situation under which he got it.
Yeah.
I can't. That's new.
Yeah.
I keep saying this about this season, but I keep seeing things in Power Rangers that I haven't seen before, and that's interesting. That makes me want to keep watching.
Yes.
Right.
And the last point I have to touch on is regarding Emilio. So, as a reminder, I watched the first episode of Dino Fury when it premiered, and I remember enjoying it, maybe not being in love with it, because I really enjoyed the first episode of Beast Morphers, but then I don't dislike Beast Morphers, but I don't like it as much as I feel like I want to.
Yeah, I think it might be. I don't dislike Beast Morphers, and 2 points. One, like most Power Ranger seasons usually have like a pretty strong or decent pilot. And to my other point, I also do not dislike Beast Morphers, but I do think in hindsight, we can say that it greatly benefited from in an Oasis effect. Like we had become so numb to the quality of the Neo Saban era that anything that just seemed remotely different or like that was remotely different, we were like, was like a, I don't know, like like being in an oasis, like finding like finding a canteen of water in the oasis, and being like,
But basically, the first episode of Beast Morphers for me set up certain expectations that I personally felt weren't 100% met going forward.
yeah,
And I'll leave that there because we're not here to talk about Beast Morphers. I bring this up because, well, again, after so many years, I kind of half expected this to happen with Dino Fury, so I wasn't exactly hyped for the second episode, and I just had a lot of personal stuff happening in 2021, so I just kind of left it on the back burner for a long time. Oh my gosh, well, Amelia. For a second, I completely forgot why I brought any of this up, but Amelia. I did not especially like Amelia in the first episode. And a lot of it has to do with her ghost hunting. Not so much that she believes in a superstitious thing like ghosts. This is the Power Rangers universe. Ghosts could very well exist. I'd buy that.
right.
But it was her methodology. She kind of came off to me like that guy on the History Channel who's always like,
aliens.
it's aliens. No matter what, I'll bet it was aliens.
I know.
And that was not endearing me to her at all. She did better in further episodes. I saw the episode where we learn more about her backstory, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I like that. But what I like in this episode is she's clearly grown some. You know, she's still excited to see actual proof of a ghost, but, you know, a visual evidence is actually something worth investigating. And she does the investigation, and I like that Ollie's willing to go along with it, because, heck, seemingly visual evidence, that's worth investigating. And they just seem so much less hostile towards each other. And like, they didn't hate each other, but they clearly got on each other's nerves early on.
To be fair, they didn't get off on the. To be fair, they didn't exactly get off on the. They didn't exactly get off on the best of starts. Like they literally met each other. Like their first encounter was Amelia accidentally tasing him.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh.
Woo.
So yeah, I am glad that while they still have that I like that we're seeing their interactions become more positive while still being good foils for each other.
Mm-hmm. And in general, I'm willing to accept any of these characters believing any wacky thing they want, as long as they approach trying to prove it in a rational manner. That's all I ask for.
Right.
You know, don't be the aliens guy. I won't like you if you're the aliens guy. And
I do from the Owl House.
Okay.
You know the one I'm talking about, right?
I think it was the one from that episode that takes place on Earth, right?
Yesterday's, yeah, that dude.
Okay, but to be fair, I don't think I'm supposed to like him, so that's a difference.
Right.
But anyway, I do believe that's about everything I have to say about the episode.
Right.
Yep. All right, my turn now.
Sorry, we've been...
God, yeah, we've been just taking up most of...
Yeah, we've been taking up most of the time devoted to this episode.
I'm sorry. I had a lot built up that I want to talk about.
No,
There's
that's
lots to say
fine.
about
That's
it.
fine. If you want to have more to talk about, that's cool. Just, woo. But anyway, now it's my turn to give my thoughts on this. I like this episode too. This was a lot of fun. You know what? I don't like this episode. I love this episode. It might be one of my favorite Power Ranger episodes in recent memory. I love the Dino Knight armor. It is beautiful.
So cool.
Heck, it gives me Dino Thunder vibes with the Shield of Triumph.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I thought I could see the comparison as well.
I have a bad habit of forgetting that the Triassic Ranger exists, but
Right.
Yes. Woo, and it's so beautiful. I mean, can we have a first female holding the battleizer?
Well, maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah,
I
we'll
keep
see. And if Javi can have the battleizer, why not Ollie? Why not Izzy? Why not Amelia?
I think. Well, I think. Well, okay, they're almost certainly going to adapt like the final forms from like Ryu Soldier, but we'll cross the bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. And also, I actually like Void King's design. It's very
Void
design
King?
was very fun.
Does he appear? I don't think he appears until episode 10 or 11.
I have not seen a Void King.
Oh, okay. Sorry for spoiling.
Oh, well.
Not really a spoiler. We see. I mean, not really a spoiler. We see him getting taken away by Void King at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is the logical outcome of how that happens. Yeah, fair enough.
Fair. All right. Yes. Love this. Love it all. Oh boy, it's gonna get. So yeah, this episode it's the best episode, best Power Rangers episode in recent memory, in my opinion. Love the Dynamite armor, very beautiful. Love how the story plays out beautifully. Love the dynamics. Love the character development in this. I love the continuity in this. Anyway,
Could I maybe I guess lead the next. Well, either this upcoming topic or the one after.
Go ahead. You can lead the next topic. Go ahead.
Okay, so needless to say, a lot went down while we were the last time we had an episode of the show. Specifically, a YouTube user by the name of a Twitter user by the name of Lil Adam 87. Let me pull. Okay, so basically, he started this hashtag on May 3rd called I love Power Rangers in an event to I guess to raise morale within the fandom. Lots of surprisingly, it was a huge success. Lots of tweets within the hashtag, to the point where even Hasbro and the official Power Rangers account acknowledged the hashtag, and then soon afterwards released an image of the first figure within Wave 12 of the Lightning Collection. Let me pull it up. Specifically that figure in specific was the Wild Force Blue Ranger, which now again, this came right out of. You got the picture pulled up, or should I pull it up?
You can pull it up.
Okay, so like I said, this was totally spontaneous, came out of nowhere, and let me pull it up.
Yeah,
so Blue Ranger was Max, right?
Yes, Max.
Okay, so many Rangers, it's easy to lose track of names nowadays.
Right. So, let me. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Now again, this figure was released was kind of spontaneous. We really only got one image of the figure, so they didn't really have the time to they probably didn't have the time to. It was spontaneous. You can tell that with the quality of the picture and how many images we saw of it. But the fact that we got it, and the fact that they unveiled it when they didn't have to, that's not. I thought that's nice. So I'm trying to pull up the actual tweet.
It's a bit of an interesting point for me, because I'm used to hearing about the video game industry and how they tend to keep information very close to their chest, no matter how good an idea would be to talk about it.
Yeah. So the fact that they not only acknowledge the fan hashtag, but release this figure in response to it, that's again, when they didn't have to, that's pretty cool.
Someone working the Twitter was doing their job that day. Is all I'm saying.
Yes. So okay, I'm trying. I think I'm getting getting a little bit closer to it, and look at the minute. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Since we've been feeling the love today from you, Ranger Nation, we wanted to share a little preview of what's to come. Wild Force Blue, and stick with us in 2023 because we're shifting into high gear. Interesting.
Wow. That I think there's only one thing they could be referring to with that.
Well, several things, but sure, but yes.
Yeah, but the use of the word shift specifically, and you could replace high gear with another word very easily.
Yeah. I mean, you could, although. Okay, yeah, no, that's probably the most likely, but it's worded so vaguely that it could mean a number of things. So, like, one, the most obvious that it could be referring to big turbo, which I mean,
the turbo.
Yes, I guess that's probably the most obvious assumption. Although it's a mystery as to whether or not they'll just reuse the Zeo head sculpts, or if they'll do what I'm hoping they'll do and have there be like two head sculpts. So like one for Tommy and another for TJ, one for Cassie and another one for Kat. That's what I'm kind of hoping they'll do, but we'll see. We'll see about that. So that's the first assumption. The second assumption is the second option is I'm going to say less likely but still plausible is RPM.
It's not outside the realm of possibility.
Shift into high gear. Like, sure, the RPM catchphrases get in gear, but the fact that they use the phrase gear either might have just been like admittedly that might kind of be me reading too much into it, but I would like to believe that the wording of that was intentional on some level.
Quick question.
Sure.
Now, I haven't really been following these Lightning Collection toys very well. Have they started releasing Zeo stuff?
I think they released Zeo stuff early on. Early on. I think they've released just about all six of these Zeo Rangers. The most recent being Tanya, which was released in wave 9 or 10.
Oh, Tanya deserved to be released way earlier.
She did.
I could talk about why I like Tanya, but that's a different episode.
Well, that's fine. But like, yeah, actually, that's funnily enough. They wave 12. Wave 11 just hit stores. Funnily enough, I just give me one quick second here. I picked up two of the figures in that line. One of them being this guy. The other, right here. Just give me one quick second. I know I'm going somewhere with this. The other being this guy, and he came with the proper paint decos.
Here, hold it steady. I can't see who.
Yeah, steady,
all right.
please.
So, I've already kind of bought two figures from Wave 11. So one of them, the first being Zato, the other being Merrick. And hey, he actually came with the proper paint decos this time.
But does he come with a Millennium Rod attachment?
Oh, I wish.
Sorry.
No, I get it. Right. Yeah. I guess to get back on topic a bit. So the release of the announcement of Wild Force Blue and Lightning Connection more or less kind of confirms the leaked Wave 12 lineup, which was Wild Force Blue, Lost Galaxy Green, Dino Thunder Yellow, and Mighty Morphin Black, but Adam. Now
all good choices.
But now details on the Mighty Morphin Black with Pinus are kind of sus because is because it's probably Adam, but is it just going to be Adam with the regular Mighty Morphin outfit? Is it? I'm personally hoping that it's Adam with the overdrive vest, but that's less likely than not. But that kind of, we haven't seen any pictures of the other figures in that line, but this does confirm that leak was legit.
Either that or it's a heck of a coincidence.
That too.
But I'm inclined to agree with you. It's probably evidence that the leak is almost certainly accurate.
Right. Now I had two other I guess conspiracies or guesses as to what that tweet was referring to, if you want to hear them. They're a bit more of a stretch than the first two, but I wouldn't mind sharing them if you'd like to hear them.
My first guesses are Operation Overdrive and Lightspeed Rescue.
Explain.
Generally they're focused on vehicles, more
Yes.
normalish vehicles as opposed to giant animal robots. That's it. That's entirely it.
Oh no, that's good enough reason. If it were up to you, who would you choose to be the first? I guess the first character from Lightspeed Rescue to represent that season.
I mean, I feel like a freaking normie saying this, but I kind of have to go with Carter.
No, I mean, hey, it sounds obvious because it's true. Right.
Although the oh my gosh, I don't remember his name. The Titanium Ranger guy.
Ryan.
I'd be down for Ryan.
The odds of this are pretty low, but I would not be opposed to them releasing Ryan and Dana in a 2-pack. Now, anyway, back to I guess my guesses. The 2023 part could be referring to the. My guess is that my guess is that the fact that they said stick with us in 2023, and this is again my take on that. My wild guess is that this is them hinting that they're going to adapt Kira Major because of the whole because of the high gear vehicles. Again, out there, but not impossible. And my last probably the most baseless guess I have is that
Whoa.
okay. The other guess is that it's my most out of the blue prediction was that that's hinting at an adaptation of Zenkaiger. because of the whole Gears thing.
I admit I'm less familiar with Zenkaiger. What's going on?
It's going in and out. It's going in and out now.
Yeah.
I'll just stop touching my mic.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Sorry, everyone.
That's fine.
It's all right. Go ahead. Jennifer.
Okay, I'm leaving it where it is now.
So yeah, that's. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add about the wave or the hashtag or what that tweet might mean?
Not really. We everything I might have wanted to say has been covered. So.
Oh. But you, Dante.
Okay. So my thoughts I think my guesses would be either Turbo or RPM. Does it make more sense?
Right.
But yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
those
we've
are my,
yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything as far as this topic goes.
yes.
Now I guess we can move on to the other the other little bit of of news that came the other bit of news that came over that weekend. Now bear with me. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen again.
Hit.
Okay, so give me a second. Okay, here we go. So I don't know if we covered this in a previous episode, but Power Rangers last year was nominated for a GLAAD award. Now that's which stands for the Gay Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. Basically, it's an award ceremony that acknowledges and and honors forms of that honors queer representation in media. And in and for the and Power Rangers Dino Fury was actually nominated for the episode was actually nominated for the GLAAD Award for Kids and Family Programming. It actually had us went up against some pretty stiff competition from one of which being the Owl House, and
Which I'm gonna put my cards on the table. I admit I'm not super familiar with how this award works, but I kind of feel like the Owl House should have won.
I mean, I was rooting for it to win too, but I think my consolation, or the thing that kind of makes me the thing that I guess I'm more accepting of it because like I think the Owl House has now two P. It won the Owl House has already kind of won two Peabody awards, so I mean that kind of makes it a bit easier to swallow.
I suppose it is frustrating when one thing wins all the awards, no matter how much it might deserve them.
Right. But consider this. This is the first like consider that this is the first well, obviously it consider that this is the first major award that an American toku show has won. Like that's pretty huge. Like this isn't just like some like winning like the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards. This is a pretty big deal. This is the most I think this episode is like this episode in particular is the I want to say this is like has gotten the most mainstream attention any season of Power Rangers has gotten in a while. And again, this is the no, not I want to say that either the first in a while or the first time ever that Power Rangers has won a major media award, which yeah, but on top of all that, I kind of think this is significant for other reasons that I'll get to. But first, what are your thoughts, I guess, on your just initial thoughts on Dino Fury winning the GLAAD Award?
Now, I kind of want to tread carefully on this because, full disclosure, I'm a straight guy. I only have so much insight I can add to this sort of thing, and my word should absolutely not be taken as gospel on any of this. I also know there's a friend of ours in the server who was less than impressed with Dino Fury's representation, feeling that it was barely better than the bare minimum. And it is not my place to tell him if he's right or wrong. So, that said, if there's, and with, it's also worth noting I haven't seen the episode in question. I've seen the previous episode that introduced the relationship, and I thought that was pretty good.
Matchmaker result. The matchmaker. I think it won for the matchmaker, but the tweet is using but the tweet is from Stitched Up.
Oh,
So
okay, that does change things.
but like, and in either case, like before we get into that, I I guess before we to avoid getting into anything heated, we might not necessarily agree. Okay, it's a start. It's a start, and I think it kind of, I don't know. There is something oddly touching. Not oddly touching. There is. It says. I think I think David, the original Blue Ranger, David Yost, who was famously gay.
And famously harassed on set for years.
Yes. So to see him I gotta imagine this is kind of bittersweet for him, and like he actually, I think he actually quoted it in a tweet, congratulating the cast.
I believe I saw that.
Yes. So I think that just kind of makes me happy. Just kind of makes me personally very happy. Just okay. Full disclosure. I personally identify as bisexual. So on that level, this news just kind of makes me happy. But
Right.
for the so yeah. Could we and should we do more going forward? Yes, but this is a good place to start, and I am hoping that on top of this, encouraging Hasbro and the writers to continue and the franchise to continue with this representation, continue with LGBTQ representation like it's been doing in the comics. Like I am also personally hoping that this convinces Hasbro, or at least makes them consider prioritizing it a bit more. Seeing the media attention it's been getting recently. I am hoping that this kind of represents a change in the way that Hasbro, I guess, kind of basically, I'm hoping this considers. I'm hoping they are looking at the attention and the buzz and the praise that this show is getting, and that kind of makes them reconsider, or makes them. Basically, I'm hoping that this convinces them to make it more of a priority now, or at least more of a priority than it is currently.
Mm-hmm. Now, while I do have limits on how I can discuss the subject matter itself, I do know quite a bit about Power Rangers, so I do feel at least comfortable weighing in on that.
Yeah.
And I have two thoughts. First off, Power Rangers very rarely does an extensive romance bit. Like, even the latest one that I can think of offhand. Okay, again, I didn't finish Beast Morphers. But with Tyler and Shelby in Dino Charge, it was mostly a sort of casual, he likes her, she likes him, they both do nervous, dumb things over it, and it's cute.
Yeah.
But it's not often we see a Wes and Jen situation.
Right.
And in that regard, what we saw with Izzy and I believe Fern absolutely fits in with any other episode with a Ranger having a love interest outside the team.
Right.
Better than several.
Yes.
I'm not mentioning Richie's name.
Oh.
I remember Richie's name, but I have to remind myself who Jane is. What is my life? And my second thought is, well, it kind of reminds me of a video I saw on.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. These things happen.
It's all right.
It was on Riverdale, but it was talking about the Archie comics in general. And the guy making the video mentioned how at some point they had added a gay character to the cast of the Archie comics, and what with Archie being a, for lack of a better phrase, a good, wholesome, all-American comic, or it purports itself to be, it basically a step tries to make the statement that being open, accepting, and loving of, try not to find a dumb way to say this, but generally being accepting and tolerant of other sexualities is a good, wholesome, all-American value that we should aspire to. Now, in that regard, I don't think Power Rangers has quite this. Does it have the same pedigree as Archie? What even counts anymore? Point is, it has been on the air for a very long time. It's kind of a fixture.
Yeah.
Maybe not something a lot of people go out of their way to watch the way they once did, but if you want to watch new Power Rangers, you can just tune in one year. It's gonna
Right.
be there.
Right.
And so for a regular fixture to have a openly gay couple like this, and for it to just be a normal thing that's we're supposed to see as cool and happy for Izzy, coming from a fixture like Power Rangers, that might mean something that it otherwise wouldn't. It might have more benefit than it otherwise might.
I think the significance of the relationship is in knowing the time and era in which this show was originally started, and with the regrettable knowledge of knowing what David Yost had to endure while making it. So in that, I guess the significance, I think it's significant in that aspect. Now, I doubt that the people who run the GLAAD Awards awarded the show with that background knowledge, because while it's known, it's not exactly I don't think they awarded the show with that knowledge, but but knowing that kind of makes the win kind of makes Dino Fury winning the award more significant.
It feels like Power Rangers has evolved from what it once was.
Right. Yes. Well, start getting back in the habit of evolving from what it started off as.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of the appeal of I guess what helped the show that's a big part of what made I want to say from it, even everything from In Space to RPM, you could see the show growing, maturing, and evolving over time. Even some of the lesser seasons like Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, and for some people, Wild Force, or at least really some people at the time. But even the seasons that were not and are not universally loved, you could see the growth and the evolution and how the show was changing with the times, and I want to say, starting with Dino Fury, how the show is slowly kind of starting to get back into that, or at least continuing that trend.
They're trying again.
They're trying.
And I hate saying it like that, because I know there's a lot of people who put a lot of hard work into the various seasons of the Neo Saban era. I know there, and also Beast Morphers, that's
Right.
Hasbro. And
Right.
look, some of the most acclaimed seasons that I would think of, they do have their detractors. There are
Right, of
people.
course.
There are people who hate RPM just as much as the people who love it. But whatever you want to say about RPM, that's a season they were clearly trying something on.
Right. And even despite its flaws, I'd say that you could see the effort to try to make something good with Beast Morphers. It feels like you could see the effort to do something unique and daring, or something different. That's
And
what
it-
I get. Right.
Mhm. And it felt like throughout so much of the Neo Saban era, and I can't, this is just speculation on my part, but it feels like someone in an executive position was giving very strong, let's say, encouragements to people to make it as much like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as they could. on the grounds that was the season that made them the most money.
Right. Now, to be fair, now, which in theory, like in theory, on paper, that doesn't sound like a terrible idea because, like, even Ninja Storm was made with the intent of it, with the intent of it feeling with the intent of it feeling kind of. Even Ninja Storm was made with the intention of it kind of feeling like a more back to basic season, like Mighty Morphin. Only it would be only with the only updated for 2000s audiences.
Mm-hmm. And in fairness, what I did just say is absolutely a reductive view of 8 years of Power Rangers. I would never say that's the be all end all of what's been happening there.
Oh, right.
But it also felt like that was something someone high up on the chain wanted, and I tended to feel that it worked as a detriment more than it helped.
Yes, in part because
with Dino Charge being the biggest exception, they tended to make it work.
Right, and I think the reason for that is like the problem wasn't so much that they wanted to make the show feel like Mighty Morphin, in in that wasn't the problem in and of itself. The problem was the fact that they either didn't think about or didn't either didn't acknowledge or didn't remember that the show that not only had the times changed since they were and to be fair, like they kind of made a similar mistake with Turbo, because the first half of Turbo just feels like they were going through the motions and just doing what they had been doing since Mighty Morphin. It didn't feel like in a natural evolution or progression in the way that Zeo or the post Zordon or even the Disney era seasons did. It just felt like they wanted to recapture the look and feel of Mighty Morphin, but they forgot to modernize the look and feel of the show itself.
And I love Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but what I feel makes the season, particularly the first one, so good, it's not so much the superficial aspects. It's just kind of the feel of it, and it's not easy to explain, but
it's
But the reason I bring all this up in the first place is because, somewhat ironically, Dino Fury kind of gives me Mighty Morphin Power Rangers vibes.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
In all the ways I would want it to.
Right. It feels like Mighty Morphin in the way that Dino Thunder or Dino Charge did, as opposed to I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse, but it feels more like the former instead of Mega Force or Ninja Steel.
I think we're all just going to give Samurai a soft pass. Look, I have a fondness for Samurai. I don't
hate Samurai. It has moments of brilliance, but the biggest weakness with that season was the big among others was that they were trying to Americanize a show that was deeply rooted in Japanese culture. And the thing is, I firmly believe that there is a way to do Samurai in a way that honors the themes of Shinkenger while also still feeling like its own thing.
To reference a video from Database Rangers Power Reviews, I believe it was, basically they took all the Japanese specific thematic stuff out of the Shinkenger stories, and they didn't really put anything back in to fill the void left behind.
Exactly. And I think a way to get around that would have been to maybe have introduced in East meets West season. Were it up to me, I personally would have had I would have had Jaden be played by somebody who by someone who's actually Japanese, or at
That
least
might have been the
acts
best.
as Japanese.
Look, I do like Jaden, believe it or not, but
yeah,
he's very white.
yeah.
And
that's
when
the
you
thing.
when you start talking about the Shiba clan, I don't picture a very white guy.
Right. Oh, yeah. So yeah.
But
For one-
anyway, the main reason I give Samurai a soft pass is one, they were shifting over production ownership that had to be pretty hectic, and as I recall, they only had about half a year of pre-production instead of the full year what they normally have.
right.
I feel like they did the best they could, and
Right.
I want to be nice to them because of that.
Right. And to be fair, they were okay. If you ignore the reversion of MMPR, they were immediately coming off of the hugely popular and beloved RPM. Like those were big shoes to fill. Like even like it was always going to be a challenge to be the follow up to RPM.
And like, I actually hadn't seen RPM at the time. I remember seeing a couple commercials for it on like ABC or something, and I was at a point I didn't care, so I didn't watch it. But a couple years later, I hear, "Oh, hey, Power Rangers is coming back. It's on Nickelodeon. Why not?" And then they start with the third episode. Nickelodeon, what did you do?
Oh,
That was
God,
that was the worst
that
thing
hurt it.
Nickelodeon ever did.
Yeah.
That hurt the season. I think that hurt the season more than the perception of Samurai more than anything else.
Because like that from Origins Part 1, that first scene opening everything up with Jaden and Mentor G and the Cracks and the Nylocks,
That first scene is great. I have my gripes with Samurai, but that opening that scene that would have. I feel like if they had just done the logical thing and opened with Origins Part 1 and 2, like they would have opinions on the season would have still been mixed, but right off the bat they would have made a much better first impression.
And because like the problem is the third episode, The Team Unites, was not shot and edited and written to be a series premiere.
No, it was
So
not.
so I turn on the episode on my DVR and I'm watching it, and my immediate thought is, did I miss something?
Yeah.
My entire episode, that was the vibe. Did I miss something?
Right. Okay, yeah. So, but I guess going back to top on a little bit.
Sorry. What are we
Oh no, it's fine. Like one, I would have actually have Jaden be played by Jaden and Lauren be played by people who are actually Japanese. Two, I think it would have been cool if they did like in East, like basically what they did like in East versus West thing, kind of what they did with Wendy like Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior. Like I would have maybe had the crux of the season be about Jaden torn between honoring his Japanese heritage, while also just wanting to be a normal kid growing up in America.
That would have probably provided that missing thematic core stuff that Samurai had a problem with.
Yeah.
Although I suddenly had a thought, and I don't know that it would make a good story, but I think it would be hilarious.
Go for it.
Okay, so you keep Jaden how he is.
Mm-hmm.
And as I recall, in Shenkenger, the Red Ranger, the whole deal was that he was secretly adopted and he wasn't technically part of the Shiba clan. And that a lot of the late game angst was about that. So my idea is you keep Jaden the way he is. You keep in the quote-unquote twist about him being adopted. And then Lauren shows up and she's full on a Japanese girl. And then they say, the secret is that Jaden's adopted, and everyone's like, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh my no, that's actually kind of brilliant.
Yes, brilliant.
It's like no one thought about it up until that moment, and it's so obvious. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine.
I have fun with this.
We did. Wait, we all do. I mean, that's why we go off on so many of these tangents. If we wouldn't go on these tangents if we did not legitimately enjoy what we were doing. But before we go, but before we go so straight way off course, I think we should move on to our next topic.
Yes, move on.
If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
sorry, Dante.
So,
It's all right. It's all right. I'll be right back, guys. JWR, you lead the next topic. And we'll
Okay.
return.
Okay. So, I guess we could sort of call this our next topic. So, there have been, in the absence of any kind of any official news coming from Hasbro or the official Power Rangers account, there has been lots of undue speculation and rumors about what's going to happen for the 30th season, and perhaps one of the more, I guess, infamous sources of these rumors is the Illuminati, and they released their latest rumor being that their latest rumor being that the 30th season is going to be that there's going to be a reunion for the third that Mighty Morphin. The MMPR is going to be reuniting for a 30th anniversary special, to which Amy Jo Johnson in a tweet replied, "Sorry, that was a rumor and not true, as far as I'm aware." Which more or less was just her debunk, basically confirming that story was that rumor was just that, a rumor. Now,
And if I'm honest, I'm kind of happy about that.
yeah,
Discounting certain recent news,
yeah, we're not going to get into that, but I know.
I'm 100% down for not getting into that.
Yeah,
But and this might sound almost sacrilegious, but I kind of don't want there to be a MMPR reunion thing.
I don't either, to be
because
honest.
there's going to be a very nasty elephant in the room that will just overshadow the whole thing for me.
Yeah, I mean that elephant more or less just for me kind of ensures that even if this was what Hasbro had planned, it's not anymore. Although on a side note, on the plus side, JDF can now appear at any conventions at any time now. Okay.
For just in case we get viewers, and by viewers I mean friends of mine who I might talk into watching this, who aren't up on certain people, short version, the Austin St. John, the Red Ranger, has been arrested. Again, we're not going into that because I don't want to. The elephant in the room that we're referring to regards, I believe her name is Twee Train.
Oh, that.
What elephant were you talking about?
I thought that was the Austin St. John situation.
Oh, I mean that's a new elephant, but this is an old elephant.
Yeah, that too.
Twee Tring, I believe her name was.
Yes.
She played Trini, the original Yellow Ranger, and she sadly passed away in a car wreck about approximately 20 years ago.
Yeah, 2001.
And for me, there's just not going to be too much of a proper formal reunion among the cast because you're never going to get the original 5 Rangers back.
You physically can't. It's impossible now.
And this assumes that David Yost would be willing to come back at all.
Right.
If you, as we mentioned earlier, he suffered a lot of harassment during his time on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And while he's not exactly shunning anything Power Ranger related nowadays, he, to the most recent knowledge I have, has been pretty open that he does not ever want to return to the show.
Right, and who can blame him, honestly?
I can't.
Right, but even that
can't.
now, okay. Back to the if I can just now, we're still like this is still like we're still kind of on topic, but like but going back just a wee bit, I've heard some people assume that the Amy Jo Johnson tweet is her just she's pulling an Andrew Garfield and deliberately lying about it so that it won't confirm the leak or anything. Here is why I kind of believe why there are two reasons why I kind of believe that that's just not true.
I mean, first of all, I'm just in the camp where I'm not going to play these sorts of are these people lying in tweets about a television show.
That's the thing. I think that people, pardon my language here, that this speculation that she's deliberately lying so that it won't spoil the surprise. I think that's total bullshit. For two reasons. One, there is a world of difference between the Andrew Garfield situation and this. For one, Andrew Garfield was asked almost non-stop about Spider-Man, about his presence in No Way Home, if he had a role. Like, he was asked almost non-stop about it because, it's Spider-Man. Everybody's gonna want to know about that. Conversely, not only did Amy Jo Johnson go out of her way to acknowledge these rumors and debunk them when nobody asked about them, but she went out of her way to deny it. And two, what reason would she have to lie about this sort of thing? Okay, here's just a hard truth that we have. I don't think we have any, as much as we love Power Rangers, I don't think any of us have any difficulty admitting that we are kind of inside of a bubble, and most people outside that niche bubble aren't chomping at the bit to know about what's going on with Power Rangers in the way that they would the latest Spider-Man movie or the latest Marvel movie or stuff like that. So that
absolutely,
that's the thing. This isn't that's the thing. There is literally no reason why she would have to lie or not spoil anything about this. It's bunk. And even if somehow, just because one actor lies or doesn't say anything about a project doesn't mean all actors do that. And even if somehow we were to assume that was going to be the case, it definitely isn't now.
Yeah. And in general, has the internet learned nothing from that whole, that whole Sherlock situation? Okay.
Right. Sherlock season 4.
Where there was this big conspiracy that there was a secret final episode.
Right.
And look, this isn't as insane as that, but at some point, I don't think there's only so much value to be had from trying to predict and think about how these things are going to play out, because there reaches a point where it gets to be unhealthy.
Right. We won't know. Okay, it is. Admittedly, I can understand why it's kind of an adjustment for some people, because we are, for the most part, not used to there being this much uncertainty regarding Power Rangers. The way it usually the way it's been for I want to say 20 plus years. By January or February or March, we knew what Sentai was going to be adapted next.
Yeah.
It is May, and we don't know what's coming next after Dino Fury Season 2. So yeah, I can see why that's an adjustment for some people.
Or heck, up through Megaforce, it was never even a question of which Sentai was going to be adapted next.
Right.
It was just the next one in line.
Yeah.
But then suddenly Dino Charge happens. They skipped Go Busters. I think Ninja Steel skipped the train one, ToQger. Then we went back and did Go Busters, and I don't even know what all we skipped at this point to reach Ryusoulger.
I don't. I mean, we skipped. Okay, I think we skipped. We skipped Q Ranger. We
The
skipped
space one,
We skipped Zyuger,
the Thangamadoober.
right? And yeah, no. Yeah. We skipped we more or less just skipped 2 whole Sentais just to get to Ryu Soldier. Okay, no, 3. Wait, Lupin Ranger versus Paddle Ranger. Although, to be
And
honest,
we still have to count Tokuger in there.
right, God, right. And
So-
and hindsight, I don't think I not. It's not impossible, but I don't think we're ever going to see an adaptation of Blue Cat because like the current yeah, like the current the state of things as they are basically ensures that like, yeah, no, we don't want. They're not going to get. I think they want to stay as far away from that as possible. I'm pretty sure even Simon Bennett said as much. Hell, I am convinced that Deca Ranger would almost never get adapted today as is now.
If there's one thing I've learned about the past week, it's that maybe we shouldn't talk about SPD very much right now.
Well, okay. Well, we can't talk about it. We just have to be careful about how we talk about it.
I know, it's just
Yeah, I know.
the internet.
Right. But yeah. So yeah, I guess where I'm trying to go with this is we're not going to know for a while what's next. Like at the earliest we will hear or learn anything is either Power Morphicon or Hasbro PulseCon. Oh, speaking of, there's an update on that we'll get into later. But like okay, so
If I'm honest, I think I kind of like this uncertainty. Because it was maybe a little boring knowing what was going to happen. Now I'm sitting here going, I have no idea what the next season of Power Rangers is even going to look like. That's a little exciting.
Right. It kind of while it was nice knowing what was down the pipeline, that kind of had the unintended side effect of kind of muting your I want to say somewhat muting or overshadowing your excitement for what was going now, what was happening currently. Like
I have to talk about Megaforce again for a moment.
Go ahead.
And again, we always make the apologies because I think it's been kicked enough. But it really was a significant season for me in a couple ways. One, the concept of cast reunions is no longer as interesting to me as it was 10 years ago. I'm sorry, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think to some degree my enjoyment of it was hurt by how much I kind of gathered the season was going to go before I even saw it. I knew it was going to be half Go-Sager, half Go-Kaiser.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if that was a surprise.
That would have either, I can't say for sure that it would have softened the initial disappointment, but I gotta imagine the reception of the actually no I'm trying to think of how that would have potentially I'm trying to think of positive ways in which that would have maybe changed the initial perception of it, but like it would have changed it would have definitely changed the way that Megaforce was initially perceived.
And in fairness, I just want to say this because just so I'm saying something positive, I really liked the first episode of the second season of Super Megaforce.
Yeah,
because heck, even for once, their decision to basically adapt 2 episodes and cram them into one, I think that actually worked to its favor. It helped sell the franticness and danger of the Armada by having these repeated assaults and escalating conflict.
Right. And in that aspect, it's kind of it's swung for the fences. It's debatable as to whether or not it actually no, it's not up for debate It might have missed, but like it took a risk, didn't pay off. Well, took a risk, took a risk, didn't pay off, and hey, you gotta admire them. You gotta admire them for at least. Well, I don't want to say trying, but you get where I'm going with this.
I understand.
Where I'm going with
Like we're almost a decade out. I'm kind of burnt out on being Megaforce was awful, whatever.
this. Right.
You know, it's over. It's done.
Right.
The reason I brought it up was, again, I'm kind of past the point where I'm going to sit here and super speculate about what's coming up next, because I'm worried I'm going to build things up in my head that
Yeah.
reality might not be able to match up to.
Yeah. There is no problem with speculating, but the danger comes when speculation becomes expectation, and your expectation becomes your prerequisite. Like, what I'm trying to get at is like that. There's like the problem comes when your expectations, like when you become so attached to your predictions and your theories and your expectations that you judge the final product for what it for versus whether or not it was what you wanted it to be, instead of judging it for what it actually is.
And fun fact, I've actually been on the receiving end of that. In a broad way. When I was in high school, I was in the marching band, and we went to competitions, and the judges, there were always multiple judges. They would record their commentary over our show, and oftentimes the Monday after our competition, we'd be listening to some of this commentary, try and see where we could stand to improve. And there was this one guy who was just a nutcase. He kept complaining that our two drum majors looked the same. Now, I don't know if you know what a drum major is.
I think I do.
The drum majors are the people who, they wave their arms, they conduct the time.
Yes.
Very specifically, the time of the songs, they speed up or slow down depending on how fast the faster slow the song is. As you might imagine, it's very important for them to have a uniform look. And this guy is screaming, practically screaming into his recording, "Stop looking the same!" And I'm just like, what are you going on about? We had a big laugh of it on Monday. My teacher actually took the cassette tape, we were using cassette tapes at the time, out of the recorder, and he smashed it with a hammer. That's how bad it was. So, yeah, sometimes you get people with weird expectations, and I've tried to remember that and monitor myself, and I don't always succeed, because Megaforce, oh boy, I built up certain things in my head for Megaforce,
Right.
which is my own fault, but I've learned better.
Right.
And I'm going to say, if there's some sort of reunion thing that happens next year, that could be neat. I'll watch it when it happens, and I hope I enjoy it.
Right. Right. Although, okay, and I don't mean to keep going back at this, but if in the instance that the MMPR thing doesn't work out, there is always, like, I'm not gonna predict what they're gonna do next, but they have options basically, and we probably will not know.
I'm sorry, one just suddenly shot into my head.
What?
What if they adapted that Space Sentai Q Ranger, I think?
Q Ranger, yes.
And used it as an excuse for either an in-space reunion or a Lost Galaxy reunion.
I would be down for that.
Like, I don't know that it's going to happen. I wouldn't bet money on it, but that would be neat as heck.
It would. Although it would, I gotta imagine it would either be more. It would give, because currently I think Lost Galaxy holds the record for being the most expensive season of Power Rangers, and with
more than RPM?
Yes. Well.
Wow.
Well. Okay. Consider that.
It did have a longer episode run.
Longer episode run, and Fox poured the money they were going to. Okay, you ever hear? Are you familiar with Mystic Knights of Tir Danag, another one of Saban show from the 90s or whatnot?
I've heard of that. I think I saw a brief video on it once.
Right. Okay. So they were they canceled the show after one season, and the money that they were going to spend on season 2, they poured into the budget for Lost Galaxy.
After In Space brought the viewers back in droves.
Right, and remember, they spent more money. They spent more money. They went all out within Space, since at the time they were certain it was going to be the last season. So space season times so the budget of a space season plus the budget of another show with all the sets and props and all the things that went wrong behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh, I've heard the horror stories.
Like it is a miracle that both Lost Galaxy and RPM turned out as good as they did, considering the nightmarish production, like the nightmarish production that they both had.
Honestly, that story about the money makes so much sense for Lost Galaxy, because, boy, that could not have been cheap.
No, it was.
For the anyone who doesn't know, Lost Galaxy was based on a season of Super Sentai that was themed around nature, and Lost Galaxy is about a space colony flying through the universe, looking to colonize a new planet.
Similarly, hell, even In Space is based on is the Sentai that In Space is based on. Mega Ranger is based around computers and video games. So basically, they had. Yeah, wait, you didn't know?
Oh, I knew. See, it's just that the first robot they had, which involved a space shuttle, it's because their base was a space station floating in orbit. So they'd fly up to transform in space, fly down to fight.
Yeah. So In Space was they poured a little more money into In Space, and then they poured even more money into Lost Galaxy, and I gotta imagine, on top, the one thing that gives me pause about them doing Q Ranger is that, like, on top of the fact that you start off with 9 Rangers, which means that you have to juggle, they are barely managing to juggle development for 5 Rangers, 5 or 6 Rangers in 22 episodes. Imagine having to do that with 9 more right off the bat, and then like 4 or 5 more later on. So yeah, more characters that you have to juggle, more actors that you have to hire, more checks that you have to send out, and
you know, this isn't like, I assume it's not like Dino Charge, where like they had people like Prince Philip who would come in every so often to be the Graphite Ranger, but he wasn't there constantly.
Right. So there's that, and those checks, those 9 or 13 to 14 checks, are going to be have to be pretty big if you're bringing back Rangers.
Yeah.
So there's that, and also the fact that I just gotta imagine that after all the drama and all the things that went behind this, that went behind the scenes with Lost Galaxy, that they would be, well, I don't want to say hesitant, because, well, I gotta imagine that would be in the back of their minds somewhat.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it's the 30th season, there's no reason not to go all out. Assuming that they go with Q Ranger, because again, we don't know.
We don't. Maybe they'll bring the train season over.
Maybe. Hell, maybe they'll do. Okay, the 2 most likely options, assuming that those rumors about this being the last Sentai season are bullshit, which they probably are.
Yeah.
Assuming that they're gonna keep making Sentai adaptations, the most likely candidates are probably Kira Major and Zyuger.
Now, I haven't seen any of the latter, but I actually have seen a good 15, 16 episodes of the former. My friend and I really should get back to that one day, and I remember really enjoying it.
Yeah. Plus, I think Hasbro had some involvement with designing the costumes for Kira Major. So I mean,
they are nice and sparkly.
Yes, They're very sparkly.
They're everything the metallic armor wishes it could be.
Yes. Right. Right.
I think. Oh. Okay.
Well,
That's it.
so. Oh, are we done?
Well, if you're. Are you done?
I know,
giving
no.
your-
I was
What
just
is
about
it?
to suggest we might need to move on to a new topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
We can start. I guess we could start with our next topic could be I guess Power Morphicon. So
Yes.
so over the weekend last week we learned that that Black Condor actor, okay, that
Toshihide Wakamatsu.
I believe it's
Toshihide
Toshihide Wakamatsu.
Toshihide Wakamatsu,
Thank
who
you.
played Black Condor in the Sentai Jetman, which the Super Sentai the Super Sentai preceding Zyuger, which was adapted into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He will be attending Ranger.
Yeah.
He's going to be attending Power Morphicon in August this year. And this was late breaking news as we were recording the show. Ryota Ozawa, who played Gokai Red, Captain Marvelous, is also going to be attending Power Morphicon that year.
Oh.
I have
Toyota
seen both
Ozawa.
I've seen both Gokaiger and Jetman. They're probably my two favorite Sentai. So this is pretty exciting news on my part.
Yeah.
Black Condor was surprisingly cool. Like, he's a jerk. Like, even when he made his cameo appearance in Gokaiger, and I'd already finished Jetman, and Guy Yuki started talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot how big an ass this guy is.
Yeah.
And, like, it's oddly endearing, and I don't even know how to explain it offhand. It's just, it was fun.
Right. I think this is the first time a Sentai actor has appeared at one of these conventions. I could be wrong on that though, but this is the first. I think this is the.
I don't know if it was Power Morphicon, but I have seen footage from a convention somewhere where Austin St. John met the actor who played his Sentai counterpart.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember his name offhand. Chi something?
Hmm.
Geki.
Geki. Now there will oh, and the other one we already mentioned earlier, but like I think this is has Ryota Ozawa ever made like I guess like convention appearances? Non-Japanese convention appearances.
Not to my knowledge.
I haven't heard anything either.
No. But yeah, this is a nice little tidbit of news. Something to look for. Something else to look forward to at Power Morphicon.
But I'm the more I think about it, the more I'm surprised about Wakamatsu showing up. While Jetman has been given formal subtitles by Shout Factory, the fact is Jetman never had any sort of Power Ranger adaptation.
No.
And so only the people who are over here and watch Sentai would have any idea who he is. So why is he coming here? Why now?
Yeah, maybe he has where the folks at PMC reached out to him and he accepted the offer. Perhaps he's doing this because he I guess wants to meet some of the Western fans. Who knows? Hopefully it all goes well. Although, it's hard to say because we'll never know how Jetman would have played if it was the first season of Power Rangers adapted instead of Zyuranger. Now who knows? Maybe it would have been just as popular. Maybe it would have been more popular. I'm kind of dubious of that because of the Okay, outside outside of like, I'm trying to think of how to say this.
If I may.
Sure.
So as I probably pointed out, I was around when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came out.
There were
And-
lots of things that made it successful.
There are lots of things. Now,
Agree with Eve,
probably one of the biggest ones is that there really wasn't anything like it at the time.
Yep.
And like, I
It's
hate
not in live
to,
action, at least.
I hate to assign popularity of something like Power Rangers or later Dragon Ball Z as simply they were something unlike anything that audience had seen before.
But
It's also disingenuous to not acknowledge that as a factor.
nothing like that had. There was almost nothing like Power Rangers at the time. There was no other like live action kid show like Power Rangers at the time.
There was not.
Like
And-
not just. Oh, wait, sorry.
Well, I was also going to point out that probably one of the things that inadvertently helped spark Power Rangers popularity was the popularity of Jurassic Park at the time.
Yes, I was going to say the exact same thing. Came out 2 months after Jurassic Park was the biggest movie in 1993. Biggest movie in 1993. Kids loved. Live action kids show with live action kids show with martial arts fight scenes and
Giant
action-
robot dinosaurs.
Yes, exactly.
And look, I love Jetman, but those flying machines are not as cool as giant robot dinosaurs.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe right.
There
Yeah.
are very few other seasons of Power Rangers or Super Sentai that have a robot summoning sequence that I think is as cool as Mighty Morphins.
Right.
And some of that might just be nostalgia, but I don't think all of it's nostalgia.
No, it's timing and synergy.
It's like an earthquake and the giant Tyrannosaurus just.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
I know.
sorry, it's so cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was that. It was the novelty, the Green with Evil storyline, and the fact
Oh
that
my
it's not,
gosh,
and the fact that it was dinosaurs. Like, unless they somehow invented time travel and like Jetman. Now, maybe if Jetman came out in '85 and then they adapted Top Gun and then it, but yeah, no, it was never. They made the smartest decision that Saban ever that Haim Saban ever made, aside from coming up with the idea of Power Rangers, was setting Juger. I keep saying it. Jew Ranger as the first season.
That
Nothing
was a
like
stroke of genius.
Right.
That's
There is
genius.
a reason. There is a reason why why they have revisited the dinosaur theme four times now.
And like Jetman still could have been popular. It still could have had a lot of things going for it, but the real question is, would it have gotten popular enough to keep going past the 40 episode mark?
Probably
Because for those unaware, that's all Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was originally supposed to have. It was supposed to end on the two-parter Doomsday, and which was very clearly adapted from the Jew Ranger finale. But the thing became so stupidly popular that they kept making new episodes. They even commissioned Japan to make new stock footage for them
with the Jew Ranger outfits.
with the Jew Ranger outfits, which I don't think has been done since.
No, I don't think they have.
Which is fair. That sounds expensive as all heck.
Plus, plus with the way things shook out, they ended up not using all of that footage.
Shame.
Well, not all of it. They still
Yeah.
used it, just did not use a whole lot of it. Plus, I mean, I think part of it. I think they did it in part to get around the fact that that Tommy's Jew Ranger counterpart died. And
Oh, he's super died.
Okay, we're getting.
yeah.
Are we getting?
What was our topic again?
Super sad.
I don't from. Oh, we were talking about Jetman
Yeah, we're
because of
getting
the
off
Power
topic
Morphin
here.
content.
Yeah, okay, I was making sure you guys were staying on topic because it was going to get. You all?
Right.
Okay, starting next week, whenever we change subjects, I'm going to type the current topic into the private chat. That way, I have that as a baseline. I'll be able to look back and remember what the heck we're going on about.
Right.
Because
Yes.
I think we might have problems with that.
Right. I mean, this is just what happens when there's not a lot of news.
And I have been really enjoying this conversation, so
Right,
I call
right.
it a win.
I'm sorry, I just can't get it.
Yes,
Super
we are.
tight.
Oh,
But,
I
okay,
think
that
we
reminds
have
me,
more topics here.
Before we do that, can we? Okay, so I want to go off tangent just for one quick second, if you'll allow me.
Okay.
So
Wait a second.
Sorry. Okay, so Wild Force overall is a pretty I guess a very accurate a faithful adaptation of Dow Ranger. But now I'm wondering what would have happened if they went further with that accuracy and actually had all the Wild Force Rangers die than the way that everybody in Dow Ranger just died at the end.
Oh wow, that is
That would've been-
depressing.
Yeah, if that really was how the if that really was the end of the Power Rangers, like the name of the episode. Dang.
We're gonna end the series by killing everyone.
Well, yeah,
Jesus heavens.
yeah. What a world that would have been.
Okay, so what's our next topic?
Okay. I guess we could talk about the title of Jonathan and Whistle's Power Ranger movie.
Or what it
Reveal?
was going to be
Well-
before he removed it from his Twitter handle, which that could mean a couple of things. Okay. Initially, on his Twitter handle, Jonathan Entwistle had the Power Rangers, kind of like the Suicide Squad. But I forget when it happened, but recently he removed any mentions of Power Rangers from his Twitter handle, and that prompted a lot of people to wonder what the hell just happened, what the hell's going on. Now, I have my theories. I kind of have a couple of theories on that in and of itself. So the first being maybe he wasn't supposed to reveal the title that early, and he just took it off. That's the first.
Possible.
The second being the second more pessimistic outcome or prediction is that he's not working on it anymore. Maybe he was too busy. Maybe he had creative differences with the people there were creative differences between him and the Brass at Hasbro. Or maybe it's those two probably. Maybe he wasn't to announce the project yet, or maybe the project just fell through.
Well, yeah, I was gonna basically kind of add on to that second point. There could be production problems, but maybe it's not necessarily with him.
Perhaps.
Maybe the project itself got entirely canceled. That does happen sometimes.
Right.
Or maybe things are in a less than ideal state behind the scenes, and the current strategy is to go silent, rework a bunch of crap, and then re-announce it like the first thing didn't happen.
Right.
Which, again, happens sometimes.
Right. Maybe.
Without further information, it's admittedly somewhat hard to pin down what, if
Right.
anything's happening.
Right. Most of this is just guesswork. For all we know, production could be moving. For all we know, production could all be smooth sailing, and Hasbro is just being really secretive about it. Perhaps he just got a bit too excited, and they just didn't want to announce that yet. Or maybe it's a Fantastic scenario where everything is going totally wrong.
Oh boy,
Oh God, I hope. Oh God. I mean, Oh God, I hope it's not a Fan Force 6 scenario.
Jeez, don't we all? Don't we all?
Hold on. Jaden Euro says love Power Rangers. Well, we're glad you love Power Rangers.
Great.
We feel you, man.
I think we were supposed. Yeah, we can do that next week. I still want to do the thing. It's too late now, but I still want to I guess do like a retrospective of sorts for like the samurai for like the samurai's journey. So maybe either because these 3 weeks mark the I guess the anniversary of sorts of that 3-parter.
We could make next week a special event about it.
For sure.
What do you think, Dante?
No, that could work. That's fine.
Speaking of which, where's my Lightning Collection camp figure? God damn it!
Yeah.
I want Hunter's flying motorcycle.
Right. Okay. I think I saw a link that says that said that they're going to release Trip with his Vector cycle. So why not?
I want to see Trip with the Battlefire armor.
Oh, what?
I'm not sure I remember that one. But then it did take me like 5 years to finish Time Force. So.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I meant for the Lightning Collection.
Oh.
Because that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Now, West with the Battlefire armor looks awesome on its own. Now, I want to see that as the part of the Lightning Collection as well. But I also...
You think?
But I also want to see Trip with the Battlefire armor.
So, what we need from the Lightning Collect... What is that humming?
Oh, that's the garage. That's the garage. Don't.
Okay. Sorry, I thought that was gone terribly wrong again. But what I want to see out of the Lightning Collection for Time Force is a figure where Wes and Jin awkwardly stare at each other and refuse to kiss.
You know, it's weird that we haven't gotten. It's weird that so far Wes is the only Time Force representation we've gotten so far.
You think we'd at least get Eric? The Quantum Ranger and the Quantum Saurus are so cool.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of which, if they're going, I am hoping that the Quantosaurus Rex is one of the first initial figures in that Zord Ascension project they've got coming up. Also a continuation in dinosaurs. There was another dinosaur theme, another T-Rex themed Red Ranger.
Oh, so I hadn't even thought of it, but you're right.
There you go.
Like, I honestly wasn't super huge on most of the mecha from Time Force, but the Quantum Saurus was cool as all heck.
It was great.
The way that thing charged through the streets.
Okay, I like the Time Force Megazord, but I love but come on.
Yeah.
It's the come on. Come on. Q-Rex all the way.
Heck yeah. Yeah,
that needs more representation in the toys.
It does.
Heck yeah. But which Q-Rex are you talking about? The Q-Rex from Time Force or the Q-Rex from
Time Force?
The real Q-Rex. Not that fake ass bootleg they got.
Okay, for clarity's sake, if I'm ever going to refer to the Q-Rex they came up with for Megaforce, I'm going to be referring to it as the Blue Rex. And yes, I totally stole that from somewhere, but Blue Rex. We're gonna be clean. So,
I mean, both designs they look nice. Both.
Okay. In fairness, it is a pretty cool mecha. It's just really, really weird for it to be given the same name as a as an
Yeah.
older mecha. It doesn't even. It's not even necessarily that it's a cooler mecha that was before.
It
It's
looks
just,
nothing like it.
but it's like you throw the name on it, and it feels like it's not the same machine. They never sell that to me.
I wonder how Dan Southworth felt about that.
I'm not sure he cared. Or at
Does
least
it- I'm sorry, who?
and the guy who Daniel Southworth, Eric's actor.
Ah, yeah, I can't imagine he had super strong feelings about it. Or maybe or maybe he did. I don't know the guy.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I had a beautiful Megazord design, beautiful Megazord idea in my head.
Let's hear it.
What if they combined the Shadow Force with the Q-Rex to form the... I had a name. It would be
I was
called...
thinking.
Quantum Shadow Megazord.
Wait, Shadow Megazord. Let me pull it. Hold on a minute. Shadow Megazord. Why
Quantum
does that ring
Shadow
a bell?
Megazord. That's not a bad name, but I was thinking about...
Oh, Shadow. Oh, the Shadow Winger. The Shadow Winger.
Yeah, Time Shadow.
Didn't they? Okay. I'm with you. Okay. If I recall correctly, there was a mech in Zenkaiju, which like combined the Dragonzord with the Q-Rex.
Huh.
I think.
Whoa, that's new.
Yeah, that's news to me. Wow.
Okay. Actually,
Well,
on that note, can you imagine if? Okay, I'm laughing. I'm laughing just thinking about it. Can you imagine if they announced that they were adapting Dawn Brothers? Like, part of me almost just wants them to go for it just to see how the fandom reacts and just how zany they're willing to get with the concept.
Hey, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that it's not so much the concept that's important for these shows, it's how well you commit to it
Right.
and how well you
Yes.
execute it. You want to have a wacky, zany season, be willing to go for it. Make me feel like you're not holding back to try and stay. I don't even know, but you have to be willing to go the distance on these things.
Right. They took
But that,
okay. There was no way that Zio was going to be as you could take a season that was as dark and mature as O-Ranger,
or as O-Ranger started out as.
Started out as.
Okay. We have some context here. The way I understand it, O-Ranger was kind of starting as a darker for Sentai robot invasion story with big battles and whatnot. But then there was a major terrorist incident in Japan that caused a lot of damage, and for the sake of sensitivity, they took O-Ranger in a lighter direction after that, which, for full disclosure, I think was 100% the right decision.
Right.
I haven't seen O-Ranger, but real life people are more important than TV shows.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, I believe you were making a
Alright,
point
back
about
to-
O-Ranger and Zio.
Yeah. So yeah, like they took a season that initially started off that was intended to be really dark and bleak, like O-Ranger, and then kind of adapted that into Zio. Although I wouldn't exactly call Zio. I wouldn't really call Zio necessarily light-hearted or dark. Just like they took it still retained the scale and scope of O-Ranger. It just didn't play it up as deadly serious.
Still, they had their moments with, I believe it was the King for a Day two-parter.
Right.
That was good. Like that was some tense stuff.
Right.
They brainwashed Tommy to think he was the lead, king of the Machine Empire,
Right.
and they had the Rangers trapped in this little arena thing, and
Mhm.
Bulk and Skull ended up breaking them out without their knowledge. It was good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. But then like
but back to what I
sometimes-
was saying though.
Hmm?
Sorry to interrupt. But that's what I was saying. what to think about the Shadow Force Megazord with the Q-Rex to form the. Now, Quantum Shadow Megazord, it's not a bad name, but I was gonna go with Powery. How about the Time Force Shadow Force Megazord
It would certainly make for a good-
Quantum or Quantum
It would-
Force Megazord?
It would certainly make for an interesting comic
Oh,
adaptation. Actually, you know what? You know what I'm kind of. You know what I think would be a really nifty idea for the comics. What if
Okay.
they what if they didn't wrote comics for the team ups that we never actually got in Power Rangers, like a comic adaptation of the Ninja Storm Rangers meeting the Wild Force Rangers.
I would
or-
read that in a heartbeat.
I would.
Heck yeah.
Or
dude. we passed the 2 hour mark.
or the SPD teaming up with, or the SPD and Mystic Force team up, or Gekka Ranger team, or Operation Overdrive teaming up with Jungle Fury, and so on and so forth.
Why not use those opportunities?
Right.
Like they could even be
Yeah.
side one-off things for people who don't want to try getting deep into the main story.
Isn't
Oh,
that
right, they
the
would all be
longest
one-offs.
episode of this
Oh right,
show
they
ever?
they would all be they would all be one-offs. But I mean, but the potential is there. Also another side note on top of a side note. If they adapting Kira Manger makes it more likely for them to get a team up with Dino Fury, which would be the first proper team up we've gotten since
Since
Wormholes?
SPD?
Yeah, since
Oh my
SPD.
gosh!
God,
How has it been that long?
I don't know, but it's been right.
Dante, you were trying to say something?
Yeah, I was trying to say that we were just gonna get back. We have one more topic to discuss.
Oh yes, I suppose we should wrap this up.
Right.
Yeah, because we're past the 2 hour mark, and we have one more topic here, and I can pull it up. A new Power Rangers mobile game is coming out. Let me pull it up.
Ah, yes.
So, of course, the first question I'm always going to have with a mobile game is, what's the monetization like?
Okay.
We don't know yet.
I mean, look, I hate to be that guy, but
No, you're right.
mobile
you're right.
gaming does have that reputation for a reason.
All right.
They do.
Enway Soft launches Power Rangers Morphin Legends. All right. Enway has started a soft launch from its third mobile game in the series dubbed Power Rangers Morphin Legend. The San Francisco game studio, a division of Animoca Brands, is releasing the game in Vietnam and the Philippines next week with a worldwide launch coming within months. The company has previously been tapped by Hasbro to develop Power Rangers Battle for the Grid and Power Rangers Legacy Wars. Power Rangers Morphin Legends is a mobile character collection role-playing game that lets players collect, strategize, battle, and level up iconic Rangers and villains across the seasons to assemble the ultimate Power Rangers team.
Wait, is
Power
this a
Rangers-
gotcha game?
What
What
you
game?
mean gotcha game?
I admittedly, I've never actually played a gotcha game, but isn't that one of those things where you try and collect various characters, usually that are somewhat
Yeah, it's
randomly
like kind of like that.
distributed?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, kinda
Genshin
like
Legend or whatever it's called.
Like Genshin Impact or Genshin Legends.
Yeah,
Genshin
Genshin
Kind of
Impact.
like
or League of Legends, or those different.
Alright.
To be honest, okay, to be fair, I never played either one of those, but yeah.
All right. Power Rangers Morphin Legends is the team's latest entry featuring turn-based action, event-driven meta, and a narrative experience never seen before on mobile. All right. When you're working with such a well-loved franchise like Power Rangers, it's important to preserve the story the fans know and love while still creating unique ways to engage with characters. Said Dr. Kim, CEO of Enway, in a statement, bringing the Power Rangers franchise to life in new ways has been incredibly fun for the team at Enway, and we're thrilled to do it again with Power Rangers Morphin Legends. Right. Power Rangers Morphin Legends enters soft launch on iOS and Android today. The goal is to test, collect feedback, and improve the in-game systems and features in order to prepare a polished product by worldwide launch. Excuse me. In an email to GameSpeed, Kim said the game is different from the predecessors. With Power Rangers Legacy, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, we felt like we were able to scratch the itch niche of Power Ranger fans who like faster-paced action games with emphasis on PvP. With Power Rangers Morphin Legends, we want to provide to the fans what they want in a mobile RPG, especially those who are into the Battle Collect RPG genre. Like said, the game places a lot more emphasis on strategy, building out teams, and tech tree, as well as the joy of character progression. We were not able to find Power Ranger games in the past that were really dedicated to this side of play. The company has about 80 to 90 people, and it continues to hire aggressively across engineering, product, data, art, design, and marketing. A big chunk of those are working on blockchain games, can be said. All right. Well, anyway, continues to invest in. Yeah. Okay. I read enough. Whew. I'm sorry.
Okay. From what I recall, I don't think this game is gonna have blockchains the way that what was the other one? Legacy Wars will.
So I'm trying to hold off until I actually see a finished product. But
I
just
some of the gameplay footage, but it looks fun. We'll see what shakes out.
To my personal taste, I'm not exactly chomping at the bit for this game. Is all.
Yeah, I'm not either. Like, okay,
I'll be happy if it turns out better than I think it's going to be. Right. I'm always happy when things turn out well.
Right.
Good.
I mean, it looks. Sure. I mean, I'll see. I'll look at the gameplay. It's nice. It's nice. I've seen some of the footage. It's nice that they're at least, it's nice that they're it's nice to see. It's nice to see that they're showing an array of different Rangers from different seasons.
That's a plus.
Yes.
That is a plus.
Okay. Side note. Okay. Not that anybody's asking, but I guess figured. For anybody curious, this is the these.
Oh, hey, Ecliptor.
Yeah. These both happen to come in the mail. These happen to come in the mail like an hour before we started the show.
Also,
so that was nice.
This.
Sweet.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Side note. Now that they've released these two in a 2-pack, there is no excuse for them not to release Villamax and Trakina in a 2-pack.
Yep. And I also got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Lost Galaxy.
Sweet.
Nice.
Okay. So, in general, I'm not a super huge fan of more recent seasons of Power Rangers trying to basically pay off plot details from decades ago, because there comes a point where it's unreasonable to expect people to keep up.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen the end of Beast Morphers, spoiler warning, but if they're gonna do stuff like that, I think it's about time Ecliptor gets revived and gets to have the redemption that he was denied.
Yeah.
He should not have been destroyed by the Z-Wave. I'm sorry.
Or at the very least, I think. Or at the very least, I wouldn't have him dying wouldn't have bothered me as much if it was like more of a heroic sacrifice. Like, say he was the no, I don't even know if that works. I was gonna say it wouldn't have bothered me as much as, like, say, if he were the one who destroyed Zordon's energy tube and stopped all this.
I don't know. Like, I do think there's a certain poetry to the fact that Andros had to do it. Like, the Z-Wave, when you get right down to it, basically break open Zordon's tube, wipe out all the bad guys. It is a borderline Deus Ex Machina that is tempered by the sheer emotional loss and the sheer weight of what Andros is being asked to do.
Right. Like, at this moment, it's easier for me to stomach knowing that at the time he assumed that he had lost his sister for good, and now they were about on the verge of losing the battle against evil for good. So at that point, he did the only thing that he could have at that moment.
Right. And, like, again, I think it was the right decision, and I think that if Ecliptor had been the one to kill Zordon, it would have lost a lot of its weight, and it wouldn't have
Right.
made for as good an episode.
Right.
Like, my only issue with Ecliptor dying is that there were characters like Rita and Zed who were purified and turned human.
When can he get that?
Do that. Ecliptor deserves it.
He does.
What has Zed ever done to deserve it?
I know.
All right. Whew. Is that it?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think
We're done?
so.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Whew, this is the longest episode we've ever done.
Yeah.
I blame everyone but myself.
Right. Lots has gone right. I mean, to be fair, lots has gone down since we. One of the benefits. Well, I guess that's both one of the biggest advantages and disadvantages when so much has gone down while we were away. But
Yes.
for the time being at least, we're
No.
back.
Yeah,
We're back, baby.
yes, we're back. And we're better than ever. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for episode 14 of the Power Ranger Podcast. If you like this video, give this video a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video or when I go live. Also, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you, JWR, for coming out.
Of course.
Thank you, Dragon Raider X9.
And anytime.
Oh, so next week, whew, it's gonna be next week's gonna be crazy. You just
Oh.
watch.
Oh,
That's right. So next week, if all goes according to plan, we will kind of be doing a. We'll still be covering what news is out there, but we will also be beginning our retrospective and our special look into the Samurai's Journey parts 1 and 2 because we're making up for lost time for last week. Well, actually, no. Part 1 aired in May, I think on May 24th of 2003. So, okay, yeah, we'll be covering parts 1 and 2 next week.
hey, an excuse to rewatch Samurai's Journey is fine by me.
Of course.
That's fine with me too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until we see y'all again next time, may the power protect you
Always.
always. All right,
Still-
bye, everybody.